This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Tonight we are continuing on our journey of Masechah Berachot. We are coming in the tail end of the fourth parak. I think tonight might be the second to last. We'll probably have one more share of the fourth parak, and then we'll have a siyum of the fourth parak. We're almost there. And then we'll also be having a siyum on the first book of the Art Scroll. We already have a sponsor for the second book. So it's exciting. Hopefully, let's wrap this up in good health with strength. We're going to speak about traveling and what that means for tefillah, what it means for prayer. Let's start us off with a question. Question outside. We're going to be on 30A. Lamed Amud Aleph. I don't even have a book in front of me anymore, so I don't know. You have to. It's going to be Hayar Rochev Al Chamor. We'll show you when we get started. Question. You're on an airplane. It's time to pray Amidah. Okay? Do you pray Amidah sitting down? Do you pray Amidah standing up in your seat? Or third option, do you go to the back of the plane where you find another group of people and you all pray together, like right between the bathroom and the where the stewardess are? Or option number four, do you put your things to cover your eyes and go to sleep and forget about tefillah?
Machloket.
Oh, okay. So Itai said machloket, which is probably the correct, and that is the correct answer. Wow, look at this Talmid Chacham. He got it. Rama takes it to modern day machloket. Oh, shalom aleichem, Mr. Akimian. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You go to the next minyan. Wow. Yeah, you should arrange to do Arvit Shacharit. Go straight from pray Arvit and do Shacharit, and you could go to sleep a little bit earlier. Baruch Hashem. Also, supervisory council has been busy for the past month. Baruch Hashem. Now, hopefully, everything is relaxed. We have you back. Okay, good. Baruch Hashem, Mr. Akimian. Mr. Akimian, this is our question. You're on an airplane going all the way to Vietnam, and it comes time when you're on the airplane. It comes time to pray. We give you four options. How do you do Amidah? Do you pray Amidah when you're sitting? Or do you stand up and do your Amidah by your seat? Or do you stand up and go for a walk, maybe to the back of the plane, pray Amidah there? Maybe you find a minyan or some friends there. Or do you say, I am patur, I don't need to pray. You cover your eyes and you go to sleep. Or any of the above. So far, Mr. Itay Akimian said the correct answer. Itay Akimian said, machloket, machloket. What did you say, Rama? Depends on which airline, and I guess it depends on what your status is, right? If you're in first class or your business class and you have more space, yeah. What do you?
Me, it's far. I mean, you go on the airplane, and even I ask sometimes the stewardesses, and they cooperate. They have special chair goes up and down by the door, so I try to stand up and pray towards the east.
So Mr. Akimian is saying, you do it in a respectful way. Maybe even ask permission or ask for some help from a stewardess, and then you go find yourself a corner and you try to go east. You know which way you're going. If you're going to Vietnam, the front of the plane is east. If you're coming back, the back of the plane is east. If you're going to Israel, same story. If you're going to Miami, left side is east. Or whatever, you're going south, so left side is east. You look outside the left window, the left wing is east. It's pretty simple. Okay, very good. So Mr. Akimian really added a fifth option: is go ask for permission, get a permit, and then you go and you find yourself a nice corner to pray. Okay, very good. Any other takers? Tomer, what do you think? Yeah, okay, so you say go to a corner. What do you think, Josh?
Personally, I just sit myself.
Okay. Josh says he's just going to sit in his seat. In 38B, he stays there and says, I'm not going anywhere. I pray Arvit, I pray Arvit, I pray Shacharit, whatever it is, sitting down. Okay? So he says there's some negatives with standing up. There's some more negatives with standing than to sitting. If you want to know the answer, you have come to the right place. Because tonight we are going to learn the source from the Mishnah directly. And when we learn it from the Mishnah, we're going to have to adapt it to modern day because there was no airplanes. But bear with me, here we go. We are going to share screen. And tonight, for the first time in history of the Gemara, of the TNG, Tuesday Night Gemara Shir, we're going to share not my screen, but the iPad. I'm going to hit the share iPad button. And then I'm going to tap this guy right over here. And 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Da-da! And we are now in a situation where I have on my monitor and I am sharing the screen of the iPad all in one shot. Baruch Hashem. We go like this, we go like that. And here we have it. Our Mishnah. We're going back to our Mishnah. And as a re-quoting it on 28b, the Mishnah said the following. This is what the Mishnah said on Kafchet Amud Bet. And we're going to pick up from Daf Lamed Amud Aleph. But the reminder of the Mishnah. Someone is riding on a donkey. The Mishnah told us, Yered ve'itpalel. What should you do? It's time to pray. Get off the donkey. Don't sit down. You should stand up. You shouldn't sit while you're riding the donkey, but you should get off the donkey, tie it to somewhere, put on a leash, have your friend hold it, something, and pray. This is what the Mishnah said. But let's say you can't get off. Let's say, I don't know why. Maybe you're like Bilam Rasha and all of a sudden the donkey is not letting you get off for whatever reason. I'm joking. But let's say you can't get off. Let's say there's nowhere to hold your donkey. You're in the middle of a rainstorm. You can't just stand here all of a sudden. So what the Mishnah told us is Yachzir et panav, turn your face towards Jerusalem and pray. So that means I'm riding my chamor. I know this way is east. I go this way and I pray while I'm sitting. And if you can't turn your face, said the Mishnah, so you should have in mind towards the Beit HaMikdash, towards the center of the Beit HaMikdash, Beit Kodesh HaKodashim. This is what our Mishnah told us. Our Mishnah told us that if you are riding a donkey, get off the donkey and pray. But if you can't, it's fine. Turn your face, and if you can't do that, then at least have kavana toward the Beit Kodesh HaKodashim. The Mishnah continued and said, and if he's traveling on a boat, where you don't know which direction you're going, and the thing turns, or you're on a raft, where the whole time you're turning, there's no east, there's no west, there's nothing like that. All the Mishnah says, you should just simply have in mind and concentrate your thoughts towards the Beit HaMikdash. That's our Mishnah. Tells you, get off the donkey. Now we have a Braita. The Braita is going to give us a different perspective. And this different perspective perhaps is going to be modern day something Josh was talking about. Let's go ahead. Mishnah. Sorry, Braita. We are on 30A. If you're looking in the art scroll, I don't know what page it's on because I'm using the iPad now. 30A what? 30A1. Hayar rochev al chamor. Yeah? Good? Hayar rochev al chamor. So says our Mishnah Tan Rabbanan. We learned in a Braita. Hayar rochev al chamor. He's riding his donkey. V'yagi azman tefillah. Now it came time to pray. So look what it says. If he has a friend who could hold his donkey while he's praying, for example, let's say there's two of you. So you could get off, one of you hold the donkeys, pray, then the other one holds the donkeys and you pray, or let's say the other guy that you're traveling with is not praying. Let's say he's someone who's not Jewish. If you have, or let's say he's local. If you can put your donkey somewhere, Yered lamata v'itpalel. That's what you should do. Get off and pray. Ve'im lav, and if not, Yeshev bimkomo v'itpalel. Just sit and pray. This is exactly what our Mishnah said, right? The Mishnah said, what? Okay, so this is a Braita that's very similar to our Mishnah. Okay, but now we're gonna have machloket. There's an opinion that argues with this. Rabbi Omer, who's Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and the halachah is gonna follow him. It says, Ben kach u ben kach. Whether you have someone who could take your spot or not, Yeshev bimkomo v'itpalel. You should sit. Don't get up. Let's say you have someone that is a ma'amad. Ma'amad says, I'll hold it for you. Don't worry. You say, no, I'm going to sit. I'm going to sit on the donkey. Why? Lefi she'en da'ato miyushevet alav. Because his mind is not settled. Rashi explains that if he gets off, the whole time he's going to be thinking, I'm losing time. I got to finish this Amidah very fast. The way Rabbi Nasi says, hold on a second. A guy is traveling. When someone is traveling, what they want to do is they want to get to their destination as soon as possible. If I tell you have to get off your donkey, what's going to happen? You're going to say, let me just say this and get out of here. I'm in the middle of who knows where. There's a Burger King over here. There's a McDonald's over here. I'm off on the side of the road. I don't want to stay here. I want to get moving. So the way Rashi explains what Rabbi Nasi says is, Lefish in da'atom yushevet alav, you will have more concentration If you stay on the donkey and you keep going, you're sitting, you're going, you have nothing to do. You're going to have more concentration. But if I tell you to get off, you know what you're going to say? Like, come on, we got to go. There's no time for Aleinu L'Shabech, there's no time for this, there's no time for that. Maybe I said this, I don't know. Okay, obviously we're only talking about the Amidah here, so Aleinu L'Shabech, scratch that comment from the record. It's just for the Amidah itself. But the point is that you're so rushed. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, I know you are going to have better kavana if you're sitting. So ben kach uben kach. Whether you can get off or not, just stay on it. Keep going. This way you're going to be more da'atom yushevet alav. Okay? Question. Go ahead.
You just stop and a second focus.
Oh, okay, very good. So Ilan is also already bringing out one of the aspects of something that makes the donkey different than the airplane or the car. When someone is riding a donkey, it goes like this. On an airplane, you're traveling, like how fast are you traveling on this thing? 1,000 miles per hour, or I don't even know. ChatGPT it to see how fast airplanes go. Whatever it is, but you almost don't feel it. Okay. So Ilan is bringing out a good point. Ilan is bringing out a point that by virtue of the fact that I'm sitting on the donkey, I won't be able to have kavana, right? But here's what he's saying. If Yehuda Nasi knows that whatever kavana you're going to have sitting on the donkey, even though it's diminished, it's going to be better than standing up. Why? Because you're thinking about going the whole time. So you're already bringing out an exception. You're bringing out an exception that if you're not in a rush, if, for example, you're just starting your journey, or better yet, let's say you know that you don't have to be there until a certain time, and you know you have plenty of time to kill, and you're going to have to take a break anyway, then you should. So Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is not talking about a situation where, look, I have to take a bathroom break anyway. You have to fill up the tank anyway. We have to feed the donkey anyway. Anyway, I got to feed the donkey. I can't feed the donkey while I'm going. So I'm going to get off so that we could go feed the donkey anyway. That's the time that I'm going to pray. Of course, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi would agree. But what he's saying is that all else equal, if stopping is going to concern you, that the whole time you're going to be thinking about praying quickly, then it's better that you just stay seated, which is a very important, critical comparison point. It's almost as though Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is going to ask a question. Will you have more kavana if you stay seated, or will you have more kavana if you stand? So he says, if I stand, I'm going to pray in 90 seconds. If I sit, I'm going to pray in 8 minutes. I'll take my time. I have nothing else to do. I'm focused on tefillah anyway. So then it's better to sit. This is what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is teaching us. Yes?
In modern day comparison, I've been in this situation many times. You're on a plane, and the stewardess might say, okay, you can get up and do it. But at any point, if there's turbulence, or if you're bothering someone, go back to your seat. So for sure, there's no doubt. If you're standing either in your seat or somewhere else in the plane, at some point you're going to be asked to go back to your seat, and that means it's going to interrupt your plane.
Okay, very good.
For sure, you're better off sitting than standing, even if it's okay to stand.
Very good.
Someone's going to interrupt you and say, please go back to your seat.
Very good. So Rama is already talking about, well, let's take this onto an airplane, okay? What happens if I stand up? If I'm standing up, Rama is saying, I run the risk if at any second there's going to be turbulence and they're going to tell me to go sit down, right? That's one risk. What? Or you're blocking the bathroom, or someone wants to go in. Or maybe the stewardess wants to come and go give people some Diet Coke. Or maybe, for example, you're standing in the way of someone who wants to pass by, or whatever it is. And so if you feel that when you're standing, you know that I can't do this with da'atom yushevet alav, I can't do it while I'm focused, then you might be able to argue like Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, ben kach uben kach, no, whatever the situation is, you should yeshev b'mkomo v'tpalel. I told you guys this example. I once was on a plane. I was on a flight. I think I shared this example once, that I was flying back from Israel, I think, or to Israel, and whatever it was, there was a lady who had a baby, like an infant, in the exit row. She paid for the exit row, or she switched with someone to get the exit row. Elal, everyone is always switching. No one is in the seat that they actually start. So she was in the exit row with a baby. And the stewardess got very upset, said, you can't have a baby in the exit row. I was sitting in the next row. He said, "You get up, come sit over here." I said, "At your service, whatever you want me to do." I got this nice exit row seat. I was able to stretch. I was able to pray. I got up. I put on my tefillin. I did Amidah. It was probably like one of the best kavanas I've had in my life. There was no turbulence. Even if there was, I was in the corner. Almost like what Mr. Akimian said. I was in the corner. No one was going to pass by me unless they wanted to exit the plane. And in a situation where we had to exit the plane, okay, all right, my tefillah would be interrupted. Probably, even if I were in my seat, my tefillah would be interrupted under that circumstance. So I got myself a nice corner. I was able to pray. Otherwise, yeah, you run the risk of any second someone could say, "I have to go to the bathroom." You have to pass by. You have to go this. You have to do that. And so you might be in a better situation if you sit. And in fact, this is what Rav Moshe Feinstein says. This is also what Rav Ben Chaim says. Rav Ben Chaim says that just sit, have kavana. Now, if you can find yourself a situation where you'll have kavana, like what Mr. Akimian is saying, is that I secured myself this corner for the next 10, 15 minutes. You know you're going to have kavana, it's going to be better kavana for you, so fine. But if by standing up, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be like this and like that, and this person passed by, and you're not going to have kavana, it's better to sit. So now you see, what's the core question? The core question is, where will you have more kavana? If you're going to have more kavana sitting, it's okay. It's okay. And especially on an airplane where there's other people involved also. See, the situation with the chamor, what did Rabbi Yehuda Nasi say? Rabbi Yehuda Nasi said, you're going to be so worried about praying quickly. You're not worried about a stewardess coming telling you to move. You're not worried about turbulence. You're not worried about someone bumping into you. You're just worried about, I'm losing travel time. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says that's enough of a reason to say you're going to have more kavanah staying seated. Now, by standing on the plane, you're not losing any travel time, right? You're not losing any time. You're going to go at the same pace. So the reasoning doesn't apply. But the same concept of what will you have more kavanah from applies. Questions? Yes.
So I was going to say, when I'm on a plane and I'm sitting there and someone is obviously someone doesn't work on a plane usually, and you're by yourself, no one's around you, the best kavanah, because there's no distractions. You're alone on a business trip. I could do an Amidah for literally 20 minutes and spend like literally 3 minutes of each bracha just thinking about the bracha, and I've done that. But being on a plane and sitting down, I would say is the highest level of kavana, because you're in the air, first of all. You're closer to Shemayim.
Right.
And cell phone.
Beautiful.
Let's say you're in a business trip, no one's distracting you. The best place you could be is sitting in your chair and not talking to anyone and not having anyone disturb you.
That's it. Very good. Okay,
sitting is the highest level.
Okay, you know what? Our next siyum is going to be on an airplane. Let's go. Let's plan a trip on SBM. SBM, take us to Cancun. We go to Mexico.
Milan, Rabbi, Milan.
Oh, Milan. Oh, Mr. Mordechai Kamali is getting married in Milan. We're going to do a siyum at SBM. We need a credit card. Get us to go there. But just for the siyum, to do it up in Shamayim. That's it. We'll just stay for a few days. But that's it. Okay, very good. Ilan, yeah. Okay, very good. So there is a clear difference of halachah between Shema Yisrael and Amidah. Shema Yisrael, are you allowed to say it sitting down? No. According to one opinion, you have to do it lying down in the evening, and you have to do it standing up in the morning. That was Beit Shammai. But Beit Hillel says, "B'sha'ah shebnei adam shochlim, b'sha'ah shebnei adam omdim." It has to do with the times. And you could do it holech darko. You could do it in whatever position you are. You could say Shema sitting. You could say Shema standing. You could say Shema lying down on your side, not on your back or your front. Yeah. You could do it while you're walking. Yeah, you can. We did speak about how you should for the Shema, the first pasuk. You should stay stationary. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. But afterwards, holech kedarko v'koreh. You're allowed to. But there's a big difference between Shema and Amidah. Amidah has a halachah that you're not allowed to move. And you're not allowed to sit down. You should be standing up. Meaning all else equal. Tonight, for Arvit, you want to say Shema Yisrael sitting down, you say it sitting down. You want to say it standing up, you can say it standing up. You want to say it moving, you can say it moving. Amidah, you cannot say it sitting down. You have to say it standing up. The laws of Amidah and Shema are different. Shema really is inward. You are reading something where you're Kabbalat Ol Malchut Shamayim, when you're accepting God's yoke on yourself. So who are you talking to? You're really talking to yourself and internalizing. Amidah is different because you're standing there, the Ribono Shel Olam, and you're asking the Tachanonim. When you're asking in front of him, you're pacing around, you're coming and you're asking him a question, you have to stand up, you have to have focus, you have to have kavanah. Okay, very good. Let's keep going. Let's time our next siyum for whenever John's wedding is. Be'ezrat Hashem.
Hey, Rabbi.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what about a minyan? Let's say you can get a minyan in the back of the plane. You're on El Al. The stewardess give you permission, everything. You're not interrupting.
Okay, so excellent question. This idea of minyan on an El Al plane. So El Al plane, this is going back to Rama's question. El Al is unique in the sense that you're probably going to be able to catch yourself a minyan. The halachah doesn't really require you. It's very hard to say you're required to go to a minyan if you're going to be like in the bathroom or in the aisle and you're not going to have kavana. If you will not have kavana, it's very hard to say, well, you're required to go be part of a minyan if you're not going to have kavana. From what I've read, Rav Ovadia Yosef would say, and he himself would sit down when he's praying. Speaking to Rabbi Ben Chaim, sit down when you're praying. If you can, okay. But this is sort of like a bonus. But it's very hard to say that you're required to go be part of a minyan on an airplane. Why? Because you see what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is telling you, ben kach uven kach. You just stay seated. You stay seated. Hey, Chaim, you go from the other door. It's locked over here. Ben kach uven kach. So because of that. So in terms of Nick, if you have the option of praying with a minyan, of course you should, but you don't have to. What we're saying now here is that it really comes down to kavana. And I would ask you the same question. Would you have more kavana praying by yourself in this circumstance? Or are you okay having kavana going and standing in the back of the plane? On an El plane, very often, they understand. It's sort of like, okay, like right now is mincha time. So I actually think some of these planes schedule a time, yeah? Have you seen this? I think some of the planes will schedule mincha at this time, arvitz at this time. And especially in that situation where it's like understood, the crew understands, you're getting everything like scheduled, then for that, then yeah. But like even that, it's hard to say you're required to because of turbulence. Okay? Good. Yeah? Question?
One's like on the road and they have like a driver. And like you need the nuisance to stop in the middle of, you don't know where you're gonna end up in a ghetto or I don't know, or travel time also. Can you sit down and
Yeah, exactly. This type of question comes up with people who are traveling salesmen. They have their merchandise with them. They have it in their car. They're driving. They don't know who's following them. They don't know who's looking at them. They don't know who could be not even targeting them, but it's just a risk. You go to a gas station, you stand there and you pray. Who knows what someone's going to come up to you? And the whole time you're going to be looking over your shoulder. If someone is carrying a lot of merchandise and is going and standing in the middle of the night somewhere where he doesn't know where he is he really going to have kavana, or is he going to be looking over his shoulder the whole time? It might be better off for this person to stay seated, doors locked, find somewhere and pray without driving. That would be better. Same concept, same idea. Yeah, for sure. If someone has merchandise with them, it's the same concept. Yeshev b'mkomo v'yitpalel. You would say the same concept by this. Someone is carrying their goods with them, and by standing up, all of a sudden they're putting themselves at risk. Okay, very good. Obviously, hold on a second. I have to say this. Obviously, it's better to pray before you're traveling. Don't leave it for the plane. If you have the opportunity to pray Arvit before, to pray Shacharit before, or even to pray after, it's better to pray after. If you know you're going to land and you're going to have 2 hours before the Sof Zman, so then don't pray on that plane like this. That goes without saying. It's better to pray Da'atom Yushevet Alav, not on the plane, right? If you could be standing up. And in fact, we're going to see in the Gemara one opinion that would pray sitting down, but then afterwards, when he had the chance to stand up, he would stand up and pray again. Because he said, like, look, I prayed, but it was only Okay? I want to start covering some ground. We only did a few lines of Gemara, but yeah, let's...
get a minyan on the plane and you can't get
Again, it's very hard to say you're required to go pray on a minyan on a plane. What we're seeing, what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, is you just sit and pray. That's what the halachah is going to be. The halachah, as we're going to see in the next line, is the halachah is like according to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Now, if you're going to tell me that I want to, okay, you want to. And then I want to pray with the minyan, okay, you want to go pray with the minyan, go pray with the minyan. But to say that that's better than praying Da'atom Yishav Alav, I guess it depends on the person. It's very hard to say that that's a requirement. If a person says, I want to pray, very focused, stationary, standing, when I'm not traveling, that takes priority over a minyan under turbulent circumstances. Let's keep going. Yeah.
You're saying somebody who wants to pray in a minyan on the plane, they could, but maybe they should. If let's say even one person on the plane, there's a possibility that it'll be a Chilul Hashem. Then he should choose blocking away. If he wants to pray in a minyan, he should pray in a minyan.
Okay, fair enough. That's a whole aspect of it that we did not speak about, is the Chilul Hashem aspect. We were speaking about Elal where people understand. If you're a situation where you think that this is going to be a disturbance to others, that it's going to be a Chilul Hashem, of course you shouldn't. Of course you shouldn't. There's no question. By doing something now, if you're going to the corner and someone who hates Jews looks at you and says, "Wow, look at these Jews," what are you going to do? Even if you weren't praying, he would say that. But if you're doing something that's inconsiderate, then of course, a person should not do something inconsiderate. There's no question. A person should not be doing something inconsiderate to others. They should be thinking about what's more considerate, for sure. Now, another aspect of this is, what happens if you're going to some country where is not friendly to Yehudim, and by standing up, you think that someone might actually hurt you? You think you have any obligation? Zero obligation to stand up and pray. Stay where you are. If you're in some sort of a country that you don't feel comfortable, or you're on a plane that you don't feel comfortable, there's no question. Okay, so look, we could go through all of these examples, but ultimately what it comes down to is kavana. That's what it comes down to. And that's the chidush of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Let's keep going. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi tells us further. Amar Rava, Rava tells us, she's shown here. Amar Rava, Rava says, V'itemer Rabbi Shua ben Levi, and some say the name of Rabbi Shua ben Levi, halachah kerebi. The halachah is like Rebbe. Remember, what did Rebbe say? Ben kach uven kach. No matter what, whether you have someone to watch your donkey or not, you should stay seated. Why? Because that's when you're more focused. Okay, Tana Rabbanan. Amazing Gemara. You guys like this art scroll thing, or no? What do you think? I like it. Okay, Tana Rabbanan, we learned in a bright Someh, someone who was blind, or someone who is unable to discern the direction. So let's say someone is blind. They don't know which way is east. If someone is able to see, they can look which direction the sun is coming from. The sun rises in the east. If someone is able to is blind and they can't figure out where it is, let's say, or for example, someone is underground in a cellar. They're not blind, but they're underground, and whatever it is, they can't go outside. There's no windows. Which way is east? I don't know. I don't know which way east is. So that's another example. What should you do in that circumstance? If you don't know which direction is east, you should have kavana to Hashem. Okay? Shneimar v'yitpalalu el Adonai. As the pasuk says, pray to God. Now look at this braita. This braita is beautiful. Because what this braita is going to do is going to give us different things that you should focus on, and it's going to bring you a pasuk each and every time, except for one. So the first thing is, you don't know which direction to pray. Pray to Hashem. As the pasuk, have your mind towards Hashem. Shneimar v'yitpalalu el Hashem. Haya omed b'chutz la'aretz. Let's say you're outside of Israel. Your focus should be toward Israel. Okay? If you're outside of Israel, what are you pointing towards? Towards Israel. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, we pray to you, God, by way of their land, the Eretz. You focus at the land. Let's say you're in the land of Israel. So you focus towards Yerushalayim. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, you pray to God by way of the city that He has chosen. And God's chosen city for Am Yisrael is Yerushalayim. So it says, if you don't know where you are, focus to Hashem. If you're outside of Israel, focus your direction toward Israel. If you're in Israel, focus your direction toward Yerushalayim. What happens if you're in Yerushalayim? You focus towards the Beit HaMikdash. You pray towards this house, the Beit HaMikdash. Let's say you're in the Beit HaMikdash. Where are Kohanim at? We have some Kohanim here. Let's say you're in the Beit HaMikdash. You focus your prayer, you focus your direction toward the Kodesh HaKodashim, which is the central room of the Beit HaMikdash where the Aron HaKodesh is in. Shneimar, as the pasuk says, as the pasuk says, praying to God toward this place, which is the Beit Kodesh Kodashim. And let's say you're in there, only one person is there. So this halachah right here is for our Kohanim Gedolim. The last one is for our Kohanim. This one's for our Kohanim Gedolim. If you're in there, you focus towards the top of the Aron. Which means if you're on the right of the Aron, you would go this way. And if you're behind it, you go this way. If you're left, there is some others that might go into this room to clean it once in a while. But it's just the Kohen Gadol. Okay? I'll tell you something nice about this in a second. Let's say it happens that I am on the far side of the kaporet. You go to the Beit HaMikdash, excuse me. You go to the Beit HaMikdash, towards west, there's the Kodesh. You enter the Kodesh, more west is the Beit Kodesh HaKodashim. Then, right there is the Aron. Let's say for some reason a person is behind the Aron, on that side. What direction should he pray, now that he's behind the Aron? Haya omed achorei Beit HaKaporet, yireh atzmo ki'ilu lifnei kaporet. He should envision himself that he's standing before the kaporet. Between the look at this footnote. Between the back wall of the Kodesh Kodashim and the western wall of the courtyard, there was a space of 11 amot. It's possible that someone fits in the Kodesh Kodashim behind the back wall and the Aron. So now he's standing there. What should he do? One who is standing in the space turns his face eastwards towards the chamber of the ark cover and envisions himself standing with everyone else on that side. Meaning, you get what's happening? He is praying. Can I draw here? Let's see. Let's do this. Where's my pen? Oh, I didn't bring my pen. This is the Beit Kodesh HaKodashim. Wow, guys, I'm having fun. This is fun. This is the Kodesh. Let's see, the Aron is going to be here. So if someone is standing, if you have people standing here, that was supposed to be a person. Okay, if you have people standing here, they're all facing this direction, right? But now let's say there's a guy standing over here. Which direction is he facing? In the Kodesh HaKodashim. Only one person can stand there. He can, but that's not the question. That's not what we're saying. The guy is standing there. He can't move, or he doesn't want to move. He focuses this way. But he imagines like he's everyone else because he wants to like sort of be with everyone else. That's what it says. He faces towards the Aron. So you could have someone standing over here facing this way and someone standing there facing that way. That's what it's telling us here. He should turn it towards it and he should envision that he is with everyone else going in this direction. So at least you're with the Sibur. In your mind, you should imagine that you're looking at the front of the Aron. This halachah is not relevant for anyone here, unless you're the Kohen Gadol and you want to end up in the back. I don't know what you're doing back there. Okay, let's go to my art scroll app. I'm really having fun with this. Yireh atzmo ki'ilu lifnei kaporet, as though he is in the kaporet. Look at this. Ready? Here's the rule. This is the rule. Everyone knows. Nimsa omed b'mizrach. It turns out if you're standing in the east, machzir panav l'ma'arav. Turn to the west. L'ma'arav, if you're standing in the west, machzir panav l'mizrach. You turn to the east. Badarom, if you're standing in the south, machzir panav l'tzafon. You face north. Batzafon, if you're in the north, machzir panav l'darom. You face south. Nimseu. All of the Jewish people are all focused towards the Beit HaKodesh Kodashim. If you are in Israel and you're standing the west of Yerushalayim, you're going to face east. But if you're actually in the east of Yerushalayim, you would be praising to the west. If you're in Sfat, north, you're going to be praying south. If you're in Eilat, you're going to be praying north. It's amazing. We always want to know, we're going to pray to the east. Pray to the east. You pray to the east if you're to the west of Yerushalayim. But the way the Gemara told it to us is that you don't have to be so precise. What does it say? If you're outside of Israel, point towards Israel. That way. It's that way. That way is Israel. If you're in Israel, now you point towards Yerushalayim. If you're in Yerushalayim, you point towards the Beit Kodesh Kodashim. If you're on Har HaBayit, you point toward you point towards the Beit Kodesh Kodashim, and if you're in the Beit Kodashim, you point towards the Kaporet. And it turns out that all of our tefillot is towards Hashem. All coming from the Beit HaMikdash. Amar Rabbi Avin v'itim Rav Avina. Ma'ikra. What is the pasuk that talks about the fact that the Beit HaMikdash and Yerushalayim is the place where everyone is focused towards? The pasuk says, "Kemigdal David Savarech," like the Tower of David is your neck. Banui letalpiot. The Tower of David, which means Yerushalayim, is built like a landmark. It is a landmark, but it's tal piot. Tel, it's a hill. Shekol piot ponim bo. That all of the mouths are turning towards it. There's a city in Yerushalayim called Tal Piot, right? You live there. Where is it? I don't know what that is. It's in Yerushalayim, like the larger. Okay, so it's amazing. There's a city in Yerushalayim called Tal Piot, and here you have a pasuk. It's coming from a pasuk. Where is this pasuk? Where is this pasuk? 20. It's in Shir HaShirim, Tal Piot. And so that city, that it's a modern day, it's a reference to, it's on a mountain, beautiful. Tal Piot is on a mountain. So here it's a reference to Yerushalayim, which is on a mountain, and all of the Piot, all of the mouths focus towards Tal Piot, towards Yerushalayim. Beautiful. Okay? Good? Good. The next time someone brings out a compass to you and says, East is like this, you tell him, Baba Jun, who said you have to pray to East? Who's East? What do you have to pray towards? Eretz Yisrael. That's what Eretz Yisrael. Someone says, why like this? Go like that. Yeah, go like that. You think they had compasses back then? Some of the Native Americans, if any of them were Jewish, you think they were praying like with this compass? The way it was is you go towards Israel. Towards Israel, you go towards Yerushalayim. Towards Yerushalayim, you go towards Beit HaMikdash. Beit HaMikdash, you go towards this. The closer you get, the more refined your directions have to be. Okay? Yeah, exactly. Correct. Yeah, this is the same thing I was saying, that if you're going on an airplane and you want to know which direction is east are you traveling east or toward the front of the airplane? Now, is it actually the front? Maybe you're going over the North Pole. Do your best. This is what we're saying. Like, what happens if someone, the way the Berachot started, if you don't know, you have your kavana towards Hashem. But if you can and you know, then you do it in these directions. Yeah, question?
Yeah, as like which you're, especially by Kohen Gadol, like as the point to which you're praying to is like getting more and more refined, some sort of like idol worshippers.
Very good. So, it's an excellent question. That's probably a broader machshava question. I don't know how deeply I want to go into this. So, Dylan, your question is, okay, now you're saying you should be praying towards this room, towards this item, towards the kruvim on top of this. Maybe these kruvim is almost going to be viewed as some sort of a deity that you're praying towards. Yeah, it's possible someone will come to think that. The question is, why do we even have such a thing? The Ramban says that really, 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 it would be better for us not to have a Mishkan. The Ramban explained to us that really a Mishkan is not something good, because it's taking God and putting him in a physical place. And where is God? Melochol haaretz kevodo. But the Ramban tells us that the reason we had a Mishkan was because a result of Chet HaEgel. When we had the Chet HaEgel, what happened? Ribbono Shalom brought us out. Who brought us out of Mitzrayim? Ani velo malach, ani velo seref, ani Hashem, ani hu velo acher. Ribbono Shalom was the one who brought us out of Egypt. And what happened very shortly after? They made a golden calf, and they said, this took you out of Egypt. So what happened is, the people, the way the Ramban explains, people could not handle having a only spiritual relationship with God. It was too much, because we're human. And to have a completely non-physical relationship with God is how it should be, but we failed. And we needed an intermediary. So the response to that, Hashem says, is you don't need an intermediary to pray to me through this item, but I'm going to make a bite. I'm going to make a house, the Mishkan. And what's going to happen is, by making me a Mishkan, people will now have something to focus towards, some physical to use to connect themselves to God. And now Hashem says, I'll be part of your lives. The Beit HaMikdash or the Mishkan is not a God. It's not something anyone should be praying towards. It's a place that you go to pray to Hashem. So it's almost like, you're right, there is a risk from making the Mishkan of some sort of idolatry. But it was actually a result of a risk of idolatry, the way Ramban explains. People served idols and they could not have a strictly spiritual relationship with God. So God said, okay, so let's make something physical. But let's make it with these rules, according to this, and this is not a place where you serve it, you serve me. And so that's supposed to help by giving a physical so that people can connect to God through that physical in some form or another. But it's not necessary. We didn't need that Beit HaMikdash or the Mishkan to serve Hashem. But as humans, we failed. It was like too much to be only spiritual. So we needed something physical. So as a consolation almost, Hashem said, okay, so here is a physical thing. Use this to pray. Use this to go here to pray to me. It's just a way so that a human mind, but Ribono Shel Olam created all of it. This place is not any more of where Hashem is and somewhere else. Ribono Shel Olam created all of it. Right? Okay, good. It's a little bit too much philosophy for one night. Let's keep going. Starting to lose my voice. What time is it? Aha. Guys, incredibly how little Gemara we covered tonight. It's actually incredible. Baruch Hashem. It's okay. We're learning, right? That's what it's about. It's not about how much you cover. It's about how much we learn. Okay, let's keep going. Now we're going to talk about different rabbis that had to travel early morning. Okay, Mr. Akimian, seems like you're very, you wake up very early. Sometimes I'm sure, you know what, let's talk about this, because I'm sure I know about this minyan. Sometimes you go to minyan, and it's still too early to pray, to put on your talit and tefillin. It's earlier than Mishiyakir. So what do we do in that situation? So I know in this minyan, sometimes they do Baruch Shamar, they say Yishtabach, then you put on your talit tefillin, and then you go. There is an earliest time that you're allowed to put on your talit and tefillin. Mishiyakir. Very good. We're going to talk about different rabbis that had to leave very early. They had an early morning flight. They had an early morning journey. What did they do in these circumstances? Okay, let's go. It's going to be very fun. A lot of important things to learn. Abuad Shmuel v'Levi. So Shmuel's father and Levi were together. And they were traveling on a journey early morning. They would wake up very early. They would pray Amidah at home. And when it came time to Shema, then they would read it. What happened? What's going on here? What is the earliest time of Shema in the morning? Anyone remember? I can tell you the sources of Masechah Berachot. Hanetzach Hama. Right before Hanetzach Hama, the Gomra im Hanetzach Hama. Why? So that you could start praying Amidah at Hanetzach Hama. This is the earliest time of Shema is 2 minutes before sunrise, so that a person says Shema, and then is Somech Geulah Letfilah. They say Shema followed by Tefillah, and their Tefillah starts at sunrise, at Hanetz. Okay? So sunrise is Hanetzach Hama, that's what Amidah is. Shema is 2 minutes before. Now these guys, this Abu Shmuel and Levi, they woke up they are leaving an hour before Hanetzach Hama. So what do? They prayed the Amidah before the time of Shema. They prayed Amidah already, and then when it comes time to Hanetzach Hama, then they say Shema Yisrael, because they weren't able to wait until Hanetz to leave. You want to put some times to this? Let's put some times to this. What time is Hanetzach Hama? Someone pull up the calendar for me. 7 o'clock, right? Today, wow, 7:02. Very good. So you know what? Let's do it like this. Guys, don't look. You might have some private stuff here. Okay. Annette, my name. Someone on the Zoom want to tell me that you don't see the screen? Yoni, do you see the screen or no? It's still on the art scroll? Oh, that's so cool. Oh, when I hit pause, it just stays on the art scroll. Okay, I'm in pause. I thought it goes back to me. Okay, very good. Now I know. So look, tomorrow, you guys see this? Yeah?
This time for Shema is look the shot in the morning.
Okay, very good. So sunrise is at 7:02. The earliest time for Shema is, let's say, 7 a.m. So that this way you say Shema with Emet v'Yatziv v'Nachon v'Kiyam, and you say Berachot Hashem Gal Yisrael at 7:02 and 13 seconds. You start Amidah at 7:02 and 13 seconds. Okay, this is how it is. What time is your Shacharit Minyan? It's much earlier, no? 6:15. So 6:15 here, the earliest Talit and Tefillin is at 6:07. So that's fine. 6:15 minyan, you can put on your talit and tefillin, and you pray. The problem is, you're saying Shema too early. Because what time? If you're starting 6:15, you're saying Shema by 6:35, 6:40, and that's already too early. So that what that means is, this is actually exactly the case of Abu Ad Shmuel Levi. How they had to leave earlier. So what would they do? They would pray the Amidah, and then later at 7:02 they would say the Shema Yisrael. Okay, that's exactly our case here. Abu Ad Shmuel v'Levi ki Abu Ba'u lemipak ba'orcha, when they had to travel on the way, they went to 6:15 minyan. Habu mekadmei u'matzei, they would pray early. V'chi hava mateh zman kriyas Shema, when it came time to say Shema, they would say Shema afterwards. What do you lose out by doing this? You lose out being somech geula letfilah. Why do you lose out being somech geula letfilah? Because you're not doing your mitzvah of Shema Yisrael. Your mitzvah of Shema Yisrael comes later. And really, in order to be somech geula letfilah, you should say Shema Yisrael at 7 o'clock, followed by Amidah at 7:02. So this way you're doing somech geula letfilah. By praying earlier, you're losing out on somech geula letfilah. You with me? Yes or no? Yes. Okay.
I'm a little confused. Sorry.
Okay. So Andy, you know what? Let's stop sharing for a second.
It's specifically about the 6:15 minyan that like I went there this morning. We said Shema and Amidah well before 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So I need to clarify. Right now, the earliest we just saw Hanetzach Hama tomorrow is at 7:02. The real time for Shema Yisrael is 7 o'clock. So that this, or really 6:59. Why? Because the time for Shacharit really is at Hanetz. You with me? Ideal time to say Shema, ideal time to say Amidah tomorrow is
7:02.
7:02. That's the ideal time. That's Hanetz. That's why you have a Hanetz minyan. And then the ideal time to say Shema is 2-3 minutes before that. Why? Because of this concept called Somech Geula Litfilah, where you are going to say the Shema Yisrael, and the bracha after the Shema Yisrael is Ga'al Yisrael, and you attach Ga'al Yisrael immediately to Amidah. That's the ideal situation. Now what happened? What is it? The Vatikin. Very good. Now, what happens in a situation where someone can't wait until that time? Someone has to leave earlier. Someone has to catch a 6:56 train. I don't know if that train still exists, but I took it a lot of times. Does it still exist? 6:56 train? I don't know. Whatever. So someone has to leave earlier. So what Abu Ad Shmuel and Levi, what they would do is they just pray the Amidah. See, you, Andy, what you do is as part of your minyan, you're saying Berachot Kriyat Shema. So you're saying the Shema Yisrael. But really, it's not the time of Shema yet. So what Abu Ad Shmuel and Levi, what they would do is they would just say Amidah. They wouldn't do all of the brachot of Shema and the Emet V'Yatziv and going Amidah at 6:30. They would just at 6:30 pray Amidah, and at 7:02 or 7 o'clock they would say the Shema Yisrael. I didn't say they can't do Amidah before 7:02. I said you can't say Shema Yisrael.
Wait, right.
Amidah, the time for Amidah is at Hanetzach Hama. Right. Okay. In a time of let me clarify. At a time of Shat Tzchak, and at a time of extenuating circumstances, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai tells us you could already do Amidah starting from Alot HaShachar. Already from dawn, from Alot HaShachar, which on this calendar we were just looking at is at 5:34. you could already start doing it starting from dawn at 5:34. Let me show you. So already from 5:34 is dawn. You're allowed to pray Amidah. That's a shot at the chak thing. That means in extenuating circumstances, you're allowed to do it in those situations. It's not ideal, but you're allowed to. But the time of Shema has not begun yet. Sorry, I just have to fix this for a second. The time of Shema has not begun yet. So now, here. Let's leave it like that. Okay, it's better that I don't stop sharing. Okay, so with this in mind, what would they do? Let's say 6 o'clock, they prayed Amidah. 7 o'clock, 7:02, they said the Shema Yisrael. That's what Abu Shimon and Levi would do when they had to travel. They had to leave early. They had to leave at 6:45. So what they would do is at 6:30 they would pray Amidah. 6:45 they would leave. After 7 o'clock they would say Shema Yisrael, and that's it. While they were traveling, they would say Shema Yisrael. But they were losing out on Somech Geulah Tefillah because the earliest time of Shema is right before Netzach Hama. Yes, the earliest time of Amidah is at 7:02, but that's only because you want to be Somech Geulah Tefillah. But if you drop Somech Geulah Tefillah, you could already do Amidah from dawn, which is 5:34 in this example. So with that in mind, let's see what the Gemara says. One more time. What time is it? Yeah, okay, we got to wrap this up. Whenever they would travel on the way, they would pray early, and then and then when it came time to Shema Yisrael, they would read it later. Look at footnote 22. In order to avoid having to pray while traveling, which would entail difficulty in concentrating, they didn't want to pray while they were traveling. They would recite Shema and Amidah at home before setting out, prior to day. That's Rashi. As for the Shema, they would delay its recital until sometime during the trip when it became light enough to recognize an acquaintance at a distance of Arba Amot, which is really, I take it back, which is really from Mishiyakir. This whole time I was saying it's 2-3 minutes before sunrise. It's not. It's really from Mishiyakir. So going back to our times, this earliest time of Shema is at 6:07. So if you're thinking about their example again, they were leaving the house at 5:45. So at 5:35, they prayed Amidah. 5:45, they left. 6:10, they were already allowed to say the Shema Yisrael. Fine. Tosfot cites Rashi as saying that they recited Shema Yisrael before dawn. Tosfot themselves, however, assert that the period before dawn is not considered daylight at all. Therefore, they explain that Shmuel's father and Levi would recite the morning prayer after the first ray of dawn appeared, but before sunrise, even though the ideal time for reciting the morning prayer begins after sunrise. Okay, very good. So far, so good. Keman, whose opinion did they follow when they did this? Ki hai tana de'atanya, like the following opinion. We're going to do this Braita, and then this is probably how we're going to wrap up for the night. There's a Braita that tells us the following. Hishkim latzet laderech, someone wakes up early morning and they have to go on the road. And it's Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, you're traveling, you have a mitzvah to do. Which mitzvah? Shofar. They didn't have everyone takes their own shofar and go do it. So what is he supposed to do? He has to leave before dawn. Mevi'in lo shofar v'tokea, so blow your shofar before sunrise. Or if it's Sukkot, lulav v'menanea, take your lulav and shake it before sunrise. Megillah b'kareba, or if it's on Purim, read the Megillah. And when it comes time for Shema, then you say it. Hishkim neshev bekaron v'sfina. Let's say someone leaves very early and he's sitting on a wagon or a boat. Mitpalel, pray at home before you go on the wagon. And when it comes time to say Shema, then you pray. This Braita tells us that if you have to do a mitzvah, then do it before you leave, before the time of Shema. Leave and then say Shema later. But when it comes to tefillah, say tefillah before. The preference here is you say Shema at home not when you're traveling. And then afterwards, when it comes time to Shema, you say it. But Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Ben kach uven kach, no matter what, korek kriyat Shema u'mitpalel, you always want to say Shema and Amidah together, kidei she'yismoch geula letfilah, because you want to be somech geula letfilah. So now here's the question. The question is, b'mai kamipalge, what are they arguing about? Mor savar tefillah me'umad adif. The first opinion says it's better to pray standing up at home without traveling, and then say Shema later. Umor savar mismach kula letfilah adif. The second opinion says no, it's better to say Shema followed by Amidah, even though your Amidah is going to be sitting. 1 second. So what we're saying here is like this: you have a choice. You can pray Amidah at home, standing up, and say Shema later when you're sitting down traveling. That's option 1. Or option 2 is, I'm going to put Shema and Amidah together, but I'll be sitting down the whole time. Is it better that I stand and say Amidah before, and then later I sit and say Shema, but then I'm not being somech geula letfilah, I'm not saying Shema going into Amidah? Or is it better that I sit and I say somech geula letfilah, and I say it together? Which one do you think? That's the machloket, okay? Let's look at Shulchan Aruch. You think sit. Oh, so what you're saying is
Isn't that with both? With saying something to do just something extra. You want to do that.
Okay, I want to take a vote.
Have to say it earlier.
Okay, so you're hedging and you're saying depends. Okay, very good. Machloket. Actually, we know it's a machloket. We just saw it. But let me ask this one more time. Okay, you have 2 options. We understand there's a rule on one side that says somech geula letfilah, which means you should say Shema before you say Amidah. Yes, that's somech geula letfilah. You have another rule that says Amidah you should say standing. Now the question is, which one of these rules are more important if they're at conflict? Because if you want me to say, if I'm traveling, when I'm traveling, it's a time of Shema, I'm going to be saying Shema and Amidah sitting, because I'm on the donkey. So I won't be standing, but I'll be somech geula letfilah. Or if you say you want me to stand, I could stand, but it's going to be before I travel. So I could pray beforehand, but then I'm not going to be somech geula letfilah. Which one is better? So we just saw there were some rabbis that they would pray before, which means they were standing, and they would lose out on being somech geula letfilah. Let's look at Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch here tells us, Bish'at adchak, in an extenuating circumstance, kegon, shesarich leashkim laderech, a person has to leave early in the morning, yachol leitpalel mishala amud hashachar, a person is already allowed to pray shacharit from dawn. This is not the ideal time, but under extenuating circumstances, a person is allowed to pray shacharit starting from dawn. V'yamtin milikrot kiryat shema ad sheyagia zmana, and then you wait and say Shema at its time. It's not the time of Shema yet. So you pray shacharit early. You can skip the brachot. You could just pray Amidah. A person has to go. You just get up. You pray the Amidah. We're putting that all aside right now. Yeah, of course, there's brachot. So this is not the maaseh, but yeah, you would have to say, you should say Berachot HaShachar, you say Baruch Shamar, you say all of that. But what we're saying here is, then you could skip the Berachot Kriyat Shema, pray the Amidah, and then say Berachot Kriyat Shema with Shema afterwards. You're losing out on somech geula letfilah. Ve'af al pi, so says Shulchan Aruch explicitly, ve'af al pi she'eno somech geula letfilah, and even though you're not attaching Geulah together with the Tefillah, Hachi Adif Tfei, it's better, Shit Palel Beveto Me'umed, that you pray at home, standing up, Mima Shit Palel Bizmana, it's better to pray standing up at home rather than to pray at its right time after Shema, V'hu Me'alech, V'yismoch Geulah Tefillah, and he's traveling. So this is where Shulchan Aruch tells us that standing at home is definitely better than saying Amidah sitting on the road. Now, the question we started off our shiur was sitting on the road or standing on the road. We're there, we said it depends. Rabbi Nasi said it depends how much kavana you're going to have. If you're not going to have kavana, you should just stay seated. If you're going to bump into people, you should just stay seated. If you have yourself a nice corner, you could stand. If there's a minyan, you could join. But that is a choice between sitting while traveling or standing while traveling. Here we're talking about sitting while traveling or standing before traveling. So you would say, well, why wouldn't I stand if I can? Because you're losing out on somech kolat tefillah by saying it so early. And even so, you should stand. So now you see the importance of standing for Amidah. You should stand for Amidah. But that's provided that you're on solid ground, that you're going to have kavana. If you're traveling and it's going to delay your trip, it's going to hold you back, you're going to be thinking about who's behind me, and you're not going to have kavana, then it's better to sit while traveling than to stand while traveling. But if you get to stand at home where you're going to have kavana, that takes priority. Good? Okay, good. I'm not sure if it sits well. Yes? Good? Yeah? You think so? Okay.
Somebody's traveling, Rabbi, going out of town, going on the plane, and he gets up before he puts his hand at the field. We say Amidah at 5:45.
In this situation where I stop sharing the screen, but yeah, if it's already after dawn, if it's already after, I don't know if we do this. Here, let me pull this up. What was the time? What happened? Here. This morning, dawn is at 5. Tomorrow morning is at 5:34. 6:07 is earliest talit and tefillin, yes. Which that's really the earliest time for Shema. Let's say a guy has to leave at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. he has to leave. His cab is outside, he has to go. Or he's at the airport, he's waiting, but he has to board at 6 a.m. So now it's like, okay, what do I do? Should I wait and do everything on the plane, sitting down? I say Shema Yisrael at the right time, I say Amidah at the right time, I say it all together, but I'm going to be sitting. Or should I stand beforehand in a place where I could have kavana for the Amidah, and then afterwards say the Shema Yisrael sitting down? So what we're saying here, what these rabbis would do, is they would stand and they would pray beforehand.
At 40.
At 5:40 in this situation, yes. Because this is a shat adchak. Shat adchak. With no tefillin, no talit, no talit, no tefillin. They just did the Shema. Just say Amidah. They just did the Amidah. And then afterwards, they have to say Shema Yisrael with all its berachot. And you lost out being samech kolat tefillah. But what you gained is you got to pray Amidah with kavana. So you pray Amidah with kavana. And again, this has to go back to, this is a situation where someone says, I'm not going to have so much kavana when I'm sitting. I'm not going to have so much kavana when I'm on the plane. It's a matter of, will you have more kavana beforehand? And if you will have more kavana beforehand, then you should do it beforehand. If you're not going to have more kavana beforehand because you're worried about you're going to miss it, you're going to late, it's the same concept. So then you might as well just say it. If a person is rushed and now his cab is already waiting and he says, oh, I'm going to miss my flight, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss that.
Josh, if I get to the airport, my flight is at 8. And then I'm going to get there, I have 1 hour before boarding. At the airport, I could pray
with kavana.
With kavana. So I'm not going to rush standing up at 5:40. I'll do at the airport.
Of course. Yeah, you're right. Nowadays, when we
a situation that later you're going to be rushed.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a very good point. What we're talking about are leaving our home. You make a good point. You leave your home, you get in a cab, then you go and you sit at the airport for 2 hours. So you're not really starting to travel yet. So what should be the right thing is, let's say I'm driving. Let's say I'm driving in a car. Let's say I'm going on a road trip. When you leave your home, your trip began, right? Now it's like, okay, someone else is driving, or I have a Tesla, the car's going to drive itself, okay? The car's going to drive itself, so I'm not going to get in an accident. Is it better that I pray while I'm on the road, or is it better that I pray at home? This is the example. You're going to be driving, you're going on a road trip. Is it better that you pray on the road while you're sitting, or is it better that you pray at home, chiyal rahat? And then to give it extra is that it's so early that it's not time of Shema yet. So then what we're saying is it's better to pray at home, standing, kavana, and then get in the car and say Shema Yisrael at the right time. That's what Shulchan Aruch is telling us. But there's another, I believe it's the Magen Avraham that says this. Magen Avraham, I'm pretty sure it's the Magen Avraham that says, nowadays no one has kavana anyway. What, are you kidding me? You standing up in your room, you have kavana. sitting in your own kavana, go to the Beit HaMikdash, you have kavana, stay where you have no kavana. Nowadays,
Rav, we said this for a chatan on his wedding day also.
Exactly. We said the same thing for a chatan. Who has Tosfot there flips it around, exactly, and says Yuharat to say on patur. Very good. That's the Tosfot says that. Nowadays, who has kavana? No one has kavana. So you're going to start making changes to do this, to do that. I have a little bit more kavana. You have no kavana. The whole time you're looking at your phone, or the whole time you're thinking about something else. You don't even know what bracha you're up to. You're telling me you have more kavana when you're over here. So a person has to use his judgment. If a person says that I know that I'm going to be able to pray better if I'm under this circumstance, then you should do it. But if you're saying it doesn't make a difference, sometimes someone is getting on the airplane, and Mr. Akimi, you make a very good point. Someone has to catch a flight. They're more tense at home than they are when they're at the airport. Once you pass security, they're there for 2 hours. There's nothing to do. At home, get this, get that, take this, pack that, get the charger, fix this, I forgot this, check this, I turned this off, turn this on. Who's going to have kavana at that point? This situation, it's better to do it afterwards. So a person, it all comes down to kavana. It all comes down to kavana. There's a lot of different circumstances that you could basically change the answer depending on the situation. If a person will have more kavana, that's what it comes down to, essentially. And since nowadays we don't really have kavana, all else equal, follow the normal protocol. Follow what's normal. Pray at the right time. Pray shacharit, not at 5:40. The better time is just do it afterwards. Why? Because you don't have kavana anyway. If you know you're going to have better kavana, so fine. But if you're not going to have better kavana, I'm pretty sure this is what the Magen Avraham says. Don't break the thing. Don't pray Amidah without saying Berachot Shachar. So you were asking for yourself. For yourself, in these situations, we follow the Sidur. Just follow the Sidur, go in order, and do your best to have kavana. If you know that you're not going to be able to have kavana, and you think something else is better, fine. There are certain situations. People do this biking marathon. You've done this before? You've done marathon, right? There was a bike marathon once in the city that they told me the 4:40 a.m. train was all the Mashadis. They all with their bikes going on this train because they all had to be in the city at a certain spot by 5 o'clock. And he said, it's still nighttime and they're not going to put on their tefillin. They're not going to pray until the whole thing starts at 6 a.m. So what are you supposed to do? So this is exactly what I told them. I looked at the calendar and on the train, they had in the last 15 minutes of the train was already this time of dawn. So I told them, you pray shacharit at this time, and then you have to make sure that you have to put your tefillin on. If you're not going to put on your tefillin on the train, it wasn't the time of tefillin. I remember it wasn't the time of tefillin. So I told them, you take your tefillin with you, and afterwards go put on your tefillin. You're going to be sweaty, but okay, fine. Wipe yourself off. Put your tefillin on. But shacharit is only in the morning. Tefillin is all day long. You could do it in the afternoon also. Shacharit has to be in the morning. Yes, we're not talking about. It's still nighttime. You
saying, let's say the time.
Yeah.
Say your Shema without telling, and then when you get there, put on your tefillin.
Yes, you can. Again, there's a million and one situations, and like, should you say Shema without your tefillin? No, you should not. But if a person is now in the middle of the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's saying, I'm not putting my tefillin on for the next 4 hours, should you miss the time of Shema? No, don't miss the time of Shema. Say Shema without your tefillin on, and then afterwards say it.
I'll say the Shema without tefillin, and then when I get to my destination, I'll.
Exactly. Same expression. Let's say you're somewhere and you don't feel comfortable. You're scared. You're going to put your tefillin on in the middle of the airport, and you don't feel that you can do it safely. So at least you say Shema Yisrael. At least you say Amidah, and then you put on your tefillin during daytime. Good. Any more questions? Okay. Be'ezrat Hashem, hopefully in good health. May we always travel for smachot and always enjoy and have kavana. Okay. Hazak Baruch.
Everything is